Okay, we're all ready to go? All right, let's call the regular board meeting to order. Any additions to the agenda? Anybody have anything in addition to this? The one thing I thought of late here was, do we want to talk about our new superintendent search?
Can't hurt.
We need to talk about it now or wait till next month, or is it too early?
I mean, I don't give it too early.
Never too early. So let's add a quick discussion on that under new business right before the RACTC report. How's that sound? So that'll become our item D. And then the rest will just change.
Make a motion to accept the agenda.
Okay, moved and seconded. Any discussion? Are we all good with that? Okay, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Okay. All right, consent agenda and one set of minutes from last month. Should be a consent agenda folder. Board members, does everybody have access now to your OneDrive from your home computers or however you need to get on these? Not yet? Call Adam.
We can easily set it up so you can have a shortcut on your desktop and just click on it and it'll take you right to it. Do you use that computer or do you use your home computer? You can do it on both.
Well, I can get it here, but I want it on my home one because that's the one I was looking at. So. And then this is fun too.
Okay, does anybody have any corrections or additions to the minutes? If not, we can roll right into the bills. Hammer, is there anything out of the ordinary on our list of bills that call to our attention?
Not to me.
We don't have the side panels on the scoreboard here up yet, do we? Are those in even?
That I don't know.
Yes, I thought they did.
I saw
Yeah.
the one was up over there, but the side panels.
I thought both of those were shipped.
Side panels
I'd
and
have to
shot
check
clocks.
with DJ.
Oh yeah, shot clocks, that's right too, yeah.
Yeah, I do side panels and shot clocks for this.
The other thing I noted, well, that can be in the building maintenance, never mind. I won't get carried away.
So the side panels just for here, high school?
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay, I was just making sure.
I just saw the installation, scoreboard installation, so I didn't know if that was, I assume it's not part of that because it
That was
wasn't.
from Danny's, right?
Yeah, that was just Taylor, I'm assuming.
Yep,
correct?
yep.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah, because they had the direct, or wired directly in there.
Yep.
And then plus, they could handle that big.
Hoisting it up there or
Yes.
whatever they're gonna do. Anything else on bills? Business as usual? What is the principal mentoring program? North Dakota Council of Educational Leaders.
Yeah, they have.
Gotta be-
a-
Is that for you?
Yeah,
Yes.
first year admin, yep.
All right, good deal. Okay, we can keep going here. I guess it looks like policies are next. We've got a few, all of them are second readings. Huh?
The first one is the Title I dispute resolution procedure. And everything was highlighted in yellow last time. So basically, it was just technicalities. KAB, we decided to go with KAB 2. Okay. And that was the district schools. So if you open that one, anything that's in italics is what we added in there. And then the KABE is the Richardton-Taylor School Parent Compact. And we basically took the one that we had and morphed it into that one.
So with the Part A meeting, where the excuse me, conduct an annual meeting at a convenient time, what do we typically do with that?
Well, typically nobody comes, so, I mean, we usually do that. We do it at a board meeting, right?
Yeah, and then it's been sent out from both schools through an all-call with a link to all the information. But I think our title team is gonna try to plan an event. Is what we talked about, try to get more
And
people.
there needs to be
Yeah.
one, well, we could do one, but then TRE needs to do their bit. RTE needs to do their bit, and RTHS needs to do, there's 3 different parts to it.
So your comment at first is what my mind goes to, is that whether it's something the board, myself, I'd like to bail in there to get just that, a little more attendance, a little more input. So yeah, if they're already talking about an event or something like that, that's something I'd like to see.
And then, so you have to have a fall meeting, which is to inform. And then you have to have a spring meeting, which is your annual meeting to evaluate or review how your plan went for the year, and then what are you gonna do for the next year.
Yeah.
And basically, with the amount of money we get, we don't have a lot of options. And
Sure.
we just pay for our title staff.
I hear you. I understand. I was, the
Which
dollar
is where
amount
it
is.
gets kind of, with these federal dollars, I can understand if you're getting, $500,000 or whatever, but.
I do see an edit, for some reason it didn't save, but it says parent responsibility on the compact, and below that's supposed to say student responsibility.
Oh,
It's saved as parent responsibility, so
Okay.
it's supposed to say we as students, because that's how I saved it, it must not updated it.
okay. And did you have that one about the translator in there? Did you remove that?
No, we added it in, we talked about,
Because I don't think that's what it's talking.
okay, then we would have to adjust that,
Yeah.
okay.
So is that on KABE? Do you have
Yes,
something, a typo
yes,
there?
so on the second page of KABE, it has the parent responsibilities, and below that, the next paragraph is supposed to say student responsibilities, because it talks about all the things that the students does. And it
Gotcha.
very much mimics what they already sign every year now, so it's just put into the new policy.
Okay, so if we approve this, it's with that change,
Yes, please.
okay?
But anyway, I realize that it's not a large amount of money that we get from Title I, but the greater content of parent involvement in improvement, school improvement, it's just something I'd like to, it's definitely in the content here. Something I'd just like to ask for. And to your point, just about getting parents there is an important piece.
But if they don't come, we share the information out on, so everybody has it.
Sure.
So if they have any questions, they can always come.
More questions on the KAB ones? We can move on to the last one, our FFI student use of personal technology.
Did we change anything with that?
Yep, we voted last time to change it exactly how the lawyer suggested. And it was possess instead of
Where'd you find
use.
that thing?
The-
Forty?
Oh, it's a
Devices.
Richardton-Taylor cell phone.
Yeah, it's just some of it, so.
Good, I just don't have it. That's your grants, I got it on folder.
So it should be right there. For the KAB,
Oh, there you
Okay,
go.
we're finding it yet.
excuse me, yeah. Two below, revenues.
Okay, has everybody got it up?
Yeah.
Okay, can you tell us again what our change, or remind us what our change was,
Yep.
please?
She had a couple things in some wording, and so one was to possess the device versus use. So that it was under use during school day. Students cannot possess personal technology devices during class periods. We had use, and she asked to change that, so we
Well,
were
I
on
think
that.
we had agreed on that.
Yep, and then remember, she asked me to take out the steps because it limits the discipline on it. So the steps of this versus depending on what's going on in case there's harassment involved.
Oh,
So if it doesn't say what the consequences are, then how can we, or did I miss
So
that?
on disciplinary consequences and confiscation, it talks about, there's a paragraph there, and then 1 and 2 is what she had suggested. So it says principal deems appropriate under the circumstances. And the other one that she didn't want limited, if a legal activity is expected or suspected, then to follow a different path.
Right, but before we had first offense is taken away that day, second offense
Yes.
was 5 days, I think, and then
Yes,
third
and-
offense was,
And we follow that for everything except if there's harassment or illegal activity.
right, so,
Yep.
but that part of it is not in here.
Right,
Okay,
is that in the handbook?
yes, and she
That
said
part
we
of
could keep that in there now, and we can decide whether we want to keep that as our steps and then add this paragraph in later.
so the 3
Mhm.
steps, okay, perfect.
Yep.
As long as, that's what, just didn't want any confusion of them knowing what the consequences were.
Right, yeah, absolutely.
But clarifying that, that probably does need cleaned up, because if you can't possess, then what good is their 5 days taken away? Right? 'Cause that's what we're saying is, or am I not understanding that? What does the 5 days take away mean?
Basically,
You turn it into the office at the beginning of the day, you pick it up at the end.
and if they say they don't
Oh,
have
so
it, they're
then
not
no
gonna
use during-
search 'em.
Right.
Correct.
So basically, you lost your privileges for times when you could use it, like
Okay.
lunch times. Right? You can use it during lunch and.
And in between classes, they can check messages and stuff.
Is this still tying up a pile of time? Even with the new policy?
As in, taking phones away?
Teacher time, administrative time.
Actually, I would say it's better this year than it has been, but I'm not sure if it'll stay that way or not, but
Okay.
it has been better.
What do you guys think? Any better? You don't have much of that, okay. Good for you.
I'm not too young, because I had a student last year in second grade who had a phone. I just said, I don't wanna see it, and when they come with the watches, I'm like, if it dings at all, then it goes in the backpack for the rest of the day, and you shut off. So, but they don't, just the more than have one.
How do the students know the times where it's allowed versus not?
Actually, I announced it at the assembly,
Okay.
and then it's actually printed in their thing, and then the teachers actually went over it in their homeworks too.
Okay.
Yeah.
Just sometimes we have expectations, and if we don't get the expectations out there, I get accused of that a lot. Let you down on your expectations, you never voiced it, so.
I don't have a problem with it.
Okay, any other questions, comments, concerns? Okay, seeing none, we'll roll in the financial reports, balance sheet.
We need to, before we do that, do we need to pass? Vote and pass, because they're second readings.
No, it's all part of the consent agenda.
Is it?
Yes.
Oh, so we don't have to separate?
Yeah, so,
Okay,
It's all together.
it's all together.
sure, okay. I thought they said they were
A,
separate.
B,
line
C,
items.
and D are all part of the consent agenda.
Okay, fantastic.
One huge motion at the end.
And we're gonna be going through the expenditure and the revenue in detail when we get down to the budget.
That's why looking at it now is kind of,
Yeah.
I don't wanna say pointless, but
You're right.
we're gonna be looking at.
It'll make much more sense next month, once
Yeah.
Amber and I finalize it, and then it'll show the budgeted numbers.
Percentages and, they're right now is 0.
Right.
Right. Okay, but the balance sheet is filled in.
Yes.
Any questions on balance sheet? So that one is filled in, that one looks good. Okay, revenue report. And this is gonna show a lot of zeros. For the budget part. Well, we must have received some revenue already, looks like,
Yes.
from state, oil and gas. Tiny bit of federal. That's pretty much it. Not gonna have much county tax money there yet. Oh, even later, I think, when you. final property tax, it'd be like in January or February, or something. So that shows up.
Yeah, I suppose if they use the final school in October, it wouldn't be until.
Revenue, expenditures. Any questions on expenditures, you know? Again, just money spent to date, I guess, right now. 958,000, all right. Hard to believe we can spend that much money in a short amount of time.
I'm sure a lot of it was HVAC, all that stuff, 'cause that bill came due after.
Yeah, we have building payment in there.
Right. So,
Student activity fund, the last one. I don't know if there's anything worth noting in here. Gate ticket sales are off and running. 3,800, really?
season tickets.
Oh, sure. Good. Questions, comments, concerns? I guess if we're all, everybody's satisfied, we can now entertain a motion and approve the whole consent agenda.
I'll make a motion to approve the consent agenda.
Okay, well, thank you.
I'll second.
Second by Shannon. Okay, any more discussion, anything on the consent agenda? Okay, all in favor, say aye. Opposed, same sign. Okay, motion carries. All right, activity director's report.
Mrs. Mason reports the athlete numbers out for fall sports for elementary girls basketball 14, junior high volleyball 23, high school volleyball 16, high school football 19, cross country 7, junior high football 15. We're still looking for one elementary boys basketball coach and talks with other schools on new options other than Pixelot and the NFHS because we're always having issues with them. And then the North Dakota High School Association is pushing a 3-class volleyball to the 2025 season. And that's all she has. And if we have further questions, I can let her know and she will email out.
Oh, sure.
I had asked Mrs. Mason to look into getting a Pixelot or whatever over at TRE so we can broadcast the games over there as well. We have NFHS over here, but YouTube streaming or whatever is, I told her to look at both. Maybe we could try it over there.
That's one of the options would be YouTube. So that,
And they give you the camera, and it's just like NFHS.
so do we owe NFHS anything if we switch? I mean, did they,
No.
we paid for the cameras, didn't we?
Yep, we did.
Okay.
So, yeah, there's nothing over there, so over there, you could do, we could try the YouTube streaming over there.
I know that my wife's nephew in Fargo, they do that at Davies, and I don't think there's any cost to watch
No,
the games
I
at
don't
that
think
point
there is.
for anybody.
Right, there's no, I don't think there's any subscription fees.
Right.
The fee would be us putting the camera. and
Right.
stuff.
Well, that's kind of nice, because yeah, with the NFHS,
You have to do a subscription and.
you
$10
gotta
a month or $200 a year or whatever it
Yeah.
is.
And
and you
some
can't
of,
share that.
some of that money comes back, but to us, but that's only like $1,500 or something.
There's a little kickback, is it 1,500 a year?
It depends on how many people
Are
are,
on it, but
yeah, like subscribe to it.
But it'd be nice so, you know, grandma and other people could watch all the elementary stuff. and
Oh,
junior
yeah,
high stuff
absolutely.
going on over there.
Yeah.
We need one in
Is
Taylor.
it ad free?
Well, maybe when you, well, NFHS isn't when you first log into it. It
Oh,
it
really?
pops up
It's got
some type of
pop-ups and all
ad, or-
that?
but it's only the one time at the beginning, and
Okay.
that's it.
Yeah. Yeah, we get that nice new gym at Taylor, we'll get it on camera.
Right. So she's looking into that.
Oh, okay.
New parent might be interested in that coaching position.
That's good. I know we said we had one elementary boys basketball coach we're looking for.
Yeah, and we do have one interest, I don't know how interested, we have a new parent, but we'll see, hopefully.
When does that season start?
I'd have to look at the date, but
Is it for girls?
it's for,
Or for both
it's for
elementary
boys, yeah. I'd have to look at the date, you know.
I think it said end of September,
September.
they go
Yeah, I was gonna say that.
until they do.
Like,
It starts
oh,
on
that's-
28th.
Of September?
It's,
Oh, I think they'll have-
You go from football to basketball.
you don't have much of a break.
That
This
kicks in
one
quick.
is-
Quick turnover.
That's all she has.
Any other questions though on activities? Thanks. All right.
And I'll double check on those score limits. What are those side panels?
The side panels.
It's shot clocks and side panels.
Yeah.
Yep.
And it's just the side panels for the one side,
Yep.
but both of them go on the one.
Right.
Yeah.
I thought those were shipped with that scoreboard. I'll talk with BJ about it. Cause I had told him if he didn't feel comfortable, you know, hooking them up or doing whatever, call somebody to come in.
Yep.
Right. Yeah. I think the shot clock's are really easy, that's just a one.
Yeah,
one
the shot
swap
clock.
out.
Yeah.
Side panels
And
are a little bigger and clumsier, but I believe they.
Now, when we,
But
Yeah.
yeah, you gotta bolt them to the wall somehow, and then they should
Yeah.
just plug into the main one.
Yeah.
He was gonna check it out.
Okay. Okay, principal reports. Mr. Patterson.
I'll start with some updated numbers for the school as well. In pre-K, AM section 8, PM section 10, Kinder 21, not 12. two sections of first grade, 16 and 17. Two sections of second grade, 16 and 15, 15 in third grade, and 23 in fourth grade. So just a few additions since our last meeting. So pre-K total 18, and then kinder through fourth grade 123 for a total of 141 for our enrollment numbers at TRE.
Wow,
Yeah.
busy place, isn't it?
Then I'll move into some building things. We talked a lot about the scoreboard already, but they got that up the day that the company got there. So it only sat for a few days in the hallway, and then they got there and got it good. Got it up quick. They were efficient with it, so the gym's basically finished, which is pretty nice. That was kind of like the last piece that we were waiting on. I was at the pause meeting last night. They're going to look into some options to replace the sign out in front of the school. At the meeting, their initial move they wanted to make was to repaint it, but it's a little bit more beat up than what they thought. It's got some wear and tear. It's got some experience on it. So they're going to be looking in just at some options as far as getting a new sign. So that's something I can keep you guys in the loop on as well. I was going to ask, because this was brought up at pause last night based on some requests from last year. Is there an update or on like, was Taylor going to receive a new sound system, or was that in the works, or was that just being discussed, or was it anything like that?
No, that was.
I truly don't know, so I just.
It was discussed.
I
Yeah,
don't know
okay.
if there was action on it though, was there?
I don't know that there was board action on it, but from the building committee,
Right.
I know
I don't know
you
if
and
we
I,
ever even got a bid or anything from it though, did we?
we saw some numbers even at one point, but it was definitely supposed to be part of that gym project, was
Right.
putting a new
Okay.
sound
Right.
system in there
Okay.
too, so.
Because they had a request from Mr. Barry from last year about like it's like an individual speaker to use for like warm-up music at games and things like that. Then they mentioned the sound. I just said I would at least check on it before they moved in a certain direction. So
Yeah, it sounds like we dropped the ball on that project, or on that piece of it.
I think Kelly received numbers, and
Okay.
it was right before he left, and I possibly could get those if you want.
Did we get numbers?
There was
I don't
numbers.
remember.
Yeah.
Hmm.
Yeah, because I think Bonnie was in on that conversation.
Even Adam's on, like they were.
Yeah, so, I mean, we could check what that was. I don't know who it was through, but I knew it was through Bismarck, through someone.
There was someone in Bismarck and someone in Grand Forks, I think.
Oh, okay.
It's starting, yeah, I'm starting to remember that now too. I have to look back and see if I even got.
Is it
email from-
AVI?
It was someone that
Yeah,
Mr. Berry knew.
okay.
Okay.
So that's something we can just continue
Yeah, we can
to look
check
at
it
it and check on it.
Yeah, check in on it and see if it's what you want too.
Okay.
But yeah, I know it was something that would, yeah, you could Bluetooth to it, you could make announcements.
Sound
with it.
system quote. Yep, we sure did get one.
You do? Yeah, see one? Can we just forward all that, or, we could forward that to Mr. Bowles. You're the point guy on
And then I'll delegate it to Mr. Bowman. Because we had talked about it, he had mentioned it
Right.
before, and
That is
he
something we
had
should
some
look at.
thoughts and stuff about it, and so he knows what's going on, you know.
Yep.
Take care of it, yeah.
So there is one more piece to that project, yeah?
Okay. I just thought I'd ask about it. About a week and a half ago, I don't know I know that each summer, like, the sections of the roof are being redone, from my understanding of it. When we had that night of like super heavy rain, there was another leak. I communicated with Mr. Bouts about it. Just over by, like, down the ramp to the right, there's a little, like, I don't know if it's necessarily a custodial closet, but over there, there's also a lot of stucco gone in that area, so I don't know if that helped contribute to it, but it was coming from the roof and
Down where the Title
down
I
by the
room
walls,
is.
yeah.
Yeah.
Before, we had problems with it seeping in, because it wasn't landscaped right, but this is coming through the roof,
And I don't know if that was a section that was repaired yet, or maybe
probably.
it wasn't. I would assume not if it's just a year or a few months old. I doubt it'd be leaking. But Ross called, I think Twin Cities was the name. That sounds familiar. Their very optimistic goal was to get out last Friday. Their kind of next optimistic goal was to get out by the end of this week, just depending on their schedule and their availability. So again, just something that I thought I'd bring up, and then we can just keep you guys up to date once they can come out and kind of look at it and see what's actually going on up there for that roof. I don't know. I know sometimes it goes into Chelsea's room. I don't know if it did this previous time, but then to finish with some positives, because that's always a good thing. I thought I'd share with you guys. We had our first school assembly this for Homecoming Friday in the new gym, so that was really cool. I learned that a lot of teachers at Taylor have some skills with balancing Oreos on their forehead and trying to keep balloons in the air and doing some awesome stuff. So, but going along with that was kind of like a practice assembly. I wanted to share. I'll just pass one each way. We're starting something. These are called Raider tokens. I'm working with Mrs. Scott Singer, the counselor. And these are, each month we're focusing on a different word. So you can notice on the card that's going around right now, that's for September, on the month of respect. And it's really more about, it's about educating on these character traits and, explaining it, giving examples, as teachers and staff, where we want to model this. And what we do with these tokens is when we recognize it, and I like it because it doesn't have to be just kids in certain teacher's room, it doesn't have to be their own students, I can give one to a 3rd grader. Mrs. Scaly could give one to a 4th grader if she sees that student, demonstrating respect, and we're trying to incorporate it through some counseling lessons and things like that. And then there's 2 points in the school they can put their tokens. I have a bucket in the office, and then we have like a shoebox down on the other side. And then once a month we'll have still working on the name of the meeting, but another school assembly where we get to celebrate these students and pick them out to play some games, or pick them out for some fun raffle prizes, or I do some daily news videos every morning, so even having them join me and I do a joke of the day. It's very dry humor and it's awesome. But having them do their own joke of the day, as a reward for just demonstrating, and it's a good way to see kids grow and in these traits, because these are traits that they'll carry with them forever, and it's good for them to grow in there. And then each month we'll just choose a different word to focus on, and again, just the process restarts again. We educate, we model, we show, we recognize, and then it's important for them to be able to recognize when they see it too, So I thought respect was a good one to start the year, because we're coming back from summer, we're getting some routines, so learning how to respect each other, respect teachers, respect friends, respect property, respect the school. We talk about kind of every aspect of the word respect. So it's kind of something new we're starting. I hope it takes off, and I hope it's successful. So, and each teacher
how did
gets
the program come about?
Closely. So at my old school, they use a curriculum called the Positivity Project, and it's similar. They have built-in lessons and things like that. And their daily schedule was built in to have a chunk of time for some SEL curriculum. But as far as like the traits and the traits are kind of based off the Positivity Project. Just some important ones to focus on. So, and it's just a good way to celebrate students. I like celebrating successes, the smallest success all the way to the biggest one. So I think they're all important. So thought I'd share that with you guys too.
Yeah, very good.
And that's all I have.
Any questions? All right, well, thank you.
Enrollment, 12th grade we have 16, 11th grade we have 26, 10th grade we have 18, 9th grade we have 17, 8th grade we have 31, 7th grade we have 29, 6th grade we have 19, and 5th grade we have 32. That's a total of 188 in this building.
What was 6th grade, sorry?
6th grade is 19, and 5th grade is 32. Building maintenance update. I asked Carrie Dorman just for an update on the Crow's Nest for construction, and she said as of Monday, September 11th, Crow's Nest addition is about 75% done. We are waiting for an electrician to come and complete their work. They're also waiting for a couple pieces of soffit and siding, and when that is installed, we will complete the work with Travis Sowski. Invoices will come to the school following that for the portion of the Big S Contracting and Schneider's Electric. But it's getting there. It's nice.
Yeah.
Nice addition.
Yeah,
I think the only thing I ever heard is, since it's on the back and some people back there can't see the game, I think a TV is coming or something, right? I think that was talked about, maybe put a big TV in there so they can still watch the game.
Yeah.
Which is good, because Booster shouldn't miss the game.
Yeah.
My wife doesn't have any kids playing, she'll be fine.
Oh.
This is recorded.
No comment.
I don't care. I think I told her that.
So where are we expending that on?
I honestly don't know. I was told the district savings by Dr. Peters, so,
What's that?
by Dr. Peters. He
For-
said
for
that
what?
it's come out of district savings to pay for that portion.
Our portion of the Crow's Nest?
Yeah.
Oh, I don't remember even having a board discussion on that really, other than, if you can pull it out of your building fund, or.
We would have to probably transfer from district savings because there's
Right.
enough funds.
Because
I
there's
think that was, we were gonna take it out of savings.
Yeah.
That was the
Yeah.
discussion that night.
Sure. Okay. Any questions for Dr. Bowman? Anything else? Let's see. 188 students all here, all good to go.
Fullest we've ever been.
Is that What was it last year?
I think our highest was 172 last year. It's been steadily growing every year.
Oh, it's the highest one.
The highest was 172 last year.
Good.
Maybe 171, but even though we always have people either move or sometimes go to different districts, we always have, it seems like within a week, we have another family that moves right in, so it's been slowly growing.
And it looks like trend-wise, that'll continue with the next grades, because
As of right now,
Fifth,
trend-wise, it looks like
fifth,
it will.
sixth, seventh is kind of your largest groups, huh?
And then we have some more in a couple years here. And I don't see your numbers going necessarily down either. It seems like more people are coming.
All right, well, that'll keep us in business. Okay, let's roll into old business. Facilities update. We have started on some, but HVAC.
Still need to put the humidifier in here for the floor. Air conditioning works awesome.
It's running?
Oh, it's nice. It'll really be nice during the summer when they have their camps and stuff, because it would get so miserable.
Yeah. Wait for graduation.
Well, that too.
Yeah.
The TRE HVAC, we haven't heard anything back from the engineer, so we're gonna kind of go back to the drawing board.
Yeah, I have tried him several times, called, no callbacks, like, so at this point, I'm under the assumption he's not doing our project, so we're back to square one.
So I was gonna contact, I know, Jeff Dudenheffer from City Air Mechanical, and I was just gonna have him come on and take a look at it and see what his thoughts are, and if he could give me an estimate. And then hopefully if we could get underneath that $150,000 bid requirement, you could just go ahead and do the project.
Where was the other guy from?
Which the engineer?
The one you were trying to get hold of.
Well, he's out of Bismarck, his name is Jason Call, and his company changed. I mean, the name of the company changed.
Right.
You know,
But that, he didn't work for H.E. Thompson.
No,
Yeah.
he just a consulting engineer.
Right.
So what he was gonna do was, you know, put a plan and spec together for us, just like he did in Richardton, and then we put that out for bids. So then after the contractors, everybody's bidding off that same plan and spec, and then, you know, just go from there. If 150,000 is the threshold, we're probably really close to being able to be under that over
His
the
was just over 2, wasn't it?
No, at 160,
Yeah. I think
But-
it was
electricals on top of that.
Yeah, right, electrical wasn't in there.
So we bid the mechanical here, and yeah, that came in plenty high, but the electrical we did not bid, the electrical piece of it, we said, well, just hook it up.
Oh, yeah, because I think the whole bid was around 2, wasn't it?
I don't know if Denny's ever gave us a bid on it, on the
Or
electrical.
the total bill, I should say, not the total bid, but the total bill.
Yeah.
And was the intent to use ESSER funds on that? We had some discussion on that.
We had discussion on that last month, but, we could not get it to qualify.
Oh,
Yeah, some of the, well, Dr. Peters didn't do quite the right legwork ahead of time to make this work for
Oh.
ESSER.
And plus, it's the federal requirements of that you gotta follow the federal pay scale.
yeah.
Yeah, that's where we got into prevailing wage and all that kind of
Right,
stuff.
and that's where Adam Tesher has said, you know, you're better off, people have tried doing this and then it just blows their project out of the water when it comes to paying the Fed rate. So, which that money could be spent.
So the Fed rate is higher than North Dakota rates? Is that what you're telling me? Than what we could get it done outside of that?
You have to.
Well, the prevailing wage scale, I'm guessing. But I don't know that for sure, but
That surprises me. But we can't use ESSER funds for a different reason, regardless of the
Yeah, I
discussion
mean, I
about
think
what it
we've
would
got
cost.
a nice list here coming up of ESSER funds and what we're looking at spending our ESSER funds
Okay.
on,
All right.
so.
So is that humidifier here, or is it coming, or?
I don't know.
Same contractor though, H.A.
Right,
Thompson.
yeah.
Just putting the-
I think it's here, I don't think it's hooked up
Oh,
yet.
okay.
I would guess that's all here. So anyway, with TRE, HVAC is, get back to square one. Find someone who either will design it or will have a contractor look at it that says, yeah, this is good to go.
I think it's,
Simple way to go, so.
I gotta come out and take a look, Brent.
Yeah, it's, you know, he was pretty good to work with.
Yeah.
I worked with him. He could, you know, he brought his engineer guy with him, and they're like, you know, and then, you know, piecing it into the old system.
Yeah.
Yeah, the concept, I mean, for air conditioning in Taylor is real similar to Richardton, where we just, in Taylor, we've got 2 air handling units, one above each locker room, and they're old, I mean, they're original, but it's nothing but a fan and a heat coil. And so the concept is, yeah, let's slip a cooling coil in there, and then, you know, 2 cooling coils, 2 condensers, and then you're up with air conditioning, you know. But, you know, the details, of course, are, we were talking about putting the condensers on the roof, or where do you put those? Roof makes the most sense, because it's just right there, but when you put equipment on the roof, we put a hole in the roof. Electrical is close by, so, I mean, in concept, it's all very simple.
Like it was something, don't you?
But, yeah, I know where this goes. And then, again, humidification goes along with the Taylor project too. You know, just like here where we have a steam injection, humidifier, keep that
Did we
floor.
have to do that with the floating?
They wanted
Yeah,
this
I
to.
couldn't remember if the
That's a good
warranty.
question.
Because I knew it was with it being fixed, but I didn't know with it being floating if it had to be under the warranty as well.
Our floating one that we had in here, it was amazing.
It moved a lot. Every winter,
Right.
we just,
Every winter,
Yeah.
I bet it was inches
Yeah.
against the wall.
yeah, you can see it pull away from the wall.
Well, and the humidity is to preserve your wood
Yep.
Yeah.
floor.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah.
I'm pretty sure it's under, that's part of the warranty.
Same thing.
And it would increase the life of the floor.
Yeah.
Like
Sure.
the floor,
I
yeah.
mean, yeah, overall, it's a good idea.
Yeah.
For sure. They're just not cheap to put humidifiers in, because they're big. Big steam injection, electric, kicks in, lights dim.
Yeah.
Anything else on facilities? Other than a leaky roof, like that now, but someone take a look at that. Finance. Okay. Audit update.
You gotta do transportation. Right?
No, it's not on mine. But
Are you
sure.
on the right one?
I might be on the wrong one.
Is there a transportation piece?
Yep.
Or are you flat out? I don't think I put transportation. I don't know.
I do want to know that kid, so.
It's for, there's a transportation on further down.
Oh. Okay, 2021, 22 audit, still don't have it. Still working on it. So, when did they say?
He was hoping by the end of August, but obviously that didn't happen. He did tell me that it's done, it just has to have final approval from, another member before they can send it off. So, hopefully by the end of this month, we should have it.
So is there a deadline that we missed on that? Or not? Not for an audit?
Well, not really, you just kind of like to have your audit in place before you start your next year, but I mean, it's
Sure. But we're 2 years behind.
So are we,
So they'll start.
was that an audit we ordered as a board?
yeah. We do your audit every year.
Every year, well, it's required, yeah, right, every year.
So then, are we sticking with the same group in that to do 2022, 3?
Well, Part of the
Or
problem
should we
was
be
they were
looking at 'em?
switching business administrators and that threw it all off.
Yeah,
Oh, sure.
it's not the firm.
Yeah.
It was our,
Okay,
it was our records.
okay. Fair enough.
And then Amber got the school district financial report done for last year. So that needs to be approved, and then it has to be submitted to the state by the 15th.
Oh, okay. So this is last year's wrap-up, whatever,
Yep.
financial report.
Yes.
I like the format of this one, it's easy to follow. I mean, so highlights basically from last year as we ended the year in the black by over 200,000. I was looking at the numbers before, and it looks like, if you look on page 2, and Amber, correct me if I'm wrong, or tell me if I'm interpreting this wrong, but our beginning balance of 1.953 million, and this basically our ending balance of 2.242 million, right? So we did not deficit spend, we ended the year positive.
So that fund just stays with the school? We don't end up with any sort of, if we continue to underspend, that just stays with the school? There's no...
Until the
2027.
state decides to take it away. What's the rule, 2027?
Yeah. And
So we got 3 years to, what happens then?
We
I
gotta
think it
spend
was,
a little bit
right
of money.
now, it was, well, they had it at 35% plus 50,000. That was your ending balance. You couldn't have more than that. If you
That's
did
your
have
carry,
more, then
okay.
they'd subtract from your
Right.
foundation.
And is that still the formula? 35%?
Yeah,
They're
and they
looking
just
at it.
suspended it, but they are, yeah, they were gonna look.
They're looking at raising it because 35% in today's world is not.
Yeah.
So
Yeah,
it's
so-
like 1.9 million or something. We'd have,
So what's our
you know,
budget?
we'd have to be under.
Basically $5.5 million budget, say for. $1.925 plus 51.975, just a shade on, it'll be $2 million by the time we get there, that we can carry. So if that rule was in effect today,
We'd have to spend.
we'd be
that.
over by
Yes.
$242,000.
Well, and I guess my question goes to, in principle, should we be trying to store money at a time like this, or should we be, where are we at? Is there needs that we're not spending on, you know?
We do have, I mean, I think we have some needs, and it's gonna come down to, I mean, what comes to my head are, okay, we're gonna start looking at school buses again. And then we still haven't remodeled our locker rooms, right? Still the last piece.
Well, and I'll throw out there staff retention, that's a big piece of my mind. So. But, you know, got so much hay in the yard, pretty soon some of it spoils, so let's take a look.
Right, but if you put it into wages, you gotta make sure your budget's still balancing.
Fair enough,
because
yeah.
You're not gonna keep living on that same can for long.
Well, and with the ESSER funds, when I get down to that, I'll talk about how we can, basically use that to, save money, so we can use different items to purchase. And I'll explain that when I get done. It'll make much more sense when I.
Okay. Any questions on this report by anybody? Is it? I mean, yeah, it's pretty straightforward. It's what we spent in last year.
And then you said this gets turned in, it gets published, or how does that look?
The state then takes this and then they put it in, if you go on their website, they have finance facts.
Okay.
And it has all the information from every school district, every county,
I'll make a motion to accept the 2023 school district financial report.
Okay, with the motion, we have a second?
No, second.
Second by Shannon, okay. Any more discussion on this, district financial report? Discussion or questions? Okay, seeing none, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. All right, motion carries, report's approved. New business, school board training and school board conference.
I think you have to register by 13th or there's like an early bird and if you look on the registration deadline.
Is there,
So on Thursday, there's the new members, seminar, and then the school law conference.
By October 13th, so
Yeah, October 13th.
so yes, any board member interested in attending?
Well, certainly do the new,
You get to do the new member one,
right.
so you can do new member and convention or just new member only.
What is the dates on here? I know I looked at one point. I'm just trying to
Over
look here.
26.
26 or 27.
Oh, is it? Yeah.
I don't know if I need to do the convention, but the school law one, that's probably a good one I might do. Should we just let Amber know, or
Yeah.
Yeah, because they only want like one person to submit.
for a
For
district?
everyone.
Okay. Well, I would do school law. Seminar only, I don't need to do convention.
So the convention includes the school law, or are these separate, or how?
It's all separate.
Oh, okay.
And the time.
School law, students and members of school law the same day. And then Friday.
Oh, I see.
I'll let you know later. See how corners.
Yeah.
Oh, I know it's not gonna work for me, I'll get to that day and go, no, this is terrible.
Well, if I know in advance, I can get somebody to help, so.
If anybody needs rooms, you'll have to contact Amber also.
Room still? I mean,
If you want.
right, have to go through you, that's what they want?
It's in Bismarck, right?
Yeah, I'll just go down there.
You remember, I'll make that. I'll let you know in the conference.
If you want just the new member, or you want the new member and the convention?
Yeah, you better let me check the calendar, get on the convention as well, so I'll get back to you early next week, I hope.
All right, anything else on school board training? I see a few legendary plaque there, did we?
Yeah, that came in the mail.
Is that part of our follow-up?
Yep,
We get a
that's your
plaque?
follow-up.
See, and I called Joe a couple times and I didn't hear back from him. I posed the questions that we talked about. Hey, do you owe us some time? What's this look like? Haven't heard much back from him yet, so.
Well, we got a plaque.
Yeah, we got a plaque. Good thing you guys went.
Yep.
Okay. All right, policy.
LEA annual compliance report. So this has to be done every year and approved by the board. The principals from each school go in and sign and say that, sign a date saying that their school is in compliance. And then I take that to the school board, and then you approve it, and then I submit it to the state before October 1st. And you can just see how it goes through, that all your teachers are licensed, they're highly qualified, curriculum, you are following the state requirements for that, and also you can see under B, it starts talking about develop a computer science and cybersecurity integration plan based on the North Dakota Computer Science and Cybersecurity Content Standards to ensure introduction to computer science and cybersecurity knowledge. This plan is approved by the local school board. So by the 1st of July, we need to have a plan in place and approved by the school board. So we should do that. Let's see. Review process that you participate in continuous cycle of improvement, approved by the superintendent of public instruction. You need to have an updated and completed strategy map, which they all do. Safety requirements, talks about fire marshal and all that stuff. Background checks, e-transcripts, compliance with counseling, a lot of evaluating the superintendent according to the medical center code. Need to have your in-the-person instruction plan posted on the web. So that's where that is. And that's basically it.
I had a few questions there on, so up on the start, the valid teaching license, personnel highly qualified. How many staff do we have running under some type of provisional certification? Or how does that really look? So we just assert that we have checked this, or what is that?
No, we have to go, it's basically through ESPD. I mean, anytime there's a provisional or any licensing, we have to go through them. And we, you know, what do we need to do to get this person in the classroom?
Okay.
So right now, I think we have, what? 2?
My buildings, well, I have 3 that have been approved by the state.
So do we have any not approved, or are we still?
No.
We've never,
You can't do,
we've ever hired
they
anyone
have to
that's
be
not
approved, otherwise you can't be in the class.
They tell us yes or no,
Okay.
based on their qualifications.
And how many at the elementary then?
Unprovisional.
Yeah. So just having the ESPB checks the highly qualified portion then, just having the license? Okay. And do we have several of them that have multiple of the provisionals as well, or can you even do that? Can you work under 2 provisional licenses, or?
No. They're just under one, you know, whether it's elementary, high school, whatever, that's, you know, high school, it would be a specific subject.
Okay. Okay, so at the high school level, we're kind of just doing it subject.
Yeah.
Okay.
And that's the way they're licensed.
And the support staff, like the counselors and that?
They're not on provisional.
Oh, she's almost done.
Oh, she is.
She's a shared between the district. Certain hours here, certain hours there, based on what school improvement told us where we needed a counselor.
And then, so the mentoring plan and that all goes through the ESPB, or?
That's a state separate program. For example, like we're going with Mr. Patterson, we're using NBCL.
Okay.
With the mentoring here,
That's a state initiative, so I sign them up with the state program, and they literally take our advisors that have agreed to be mentors, and they train them, and then they actually have to take a class for it. and then they train the new ones. And that was implemented 3 years ago. Remember?
Nice.
Conversation 3 years ago.
The state initiative was 3 years ago versus some type of mentoring program? Is that what you're
That's
saying?
when we decided to go to the state mentoring program.
Oh, okay.
And it's been going fantastic. It's a lot of extra work for new staff, but it really implements into mentoring them the right way.
Okay.
What does LEA stand for?
Local Education Agency.
I was looking for that when I was
So many acronyms.
I'll make a motion to approve the LEA annual compliance.
Okay, a motion, we have a second?
I'll second it.
Second by Dwayne. Any more discussion?
Yeah, I guess I do. On the compliance of assure the institution and the district are complying with these statements. The institution certifies that appropriate and effective counseling services are provided for all students. What does that really look like? Is it, I guess I gotta read into the century code there, but what does that look like for us?
It's based on the number of students.
Okay,
So I think is it like one for, I don't know if they changed it, one for every 400.
oh, okay.
So we're over.
So it's just a number
I
to
don't think-
comply with this? It's not,
What's that?
it's just a number to comply with this? It's not it's just a ratio of
Right,
students?
yep.
Oh,
So
okay.
if you have 400 kids, you need to have one counselor. If you have 401, you're gonna have to have two.
Which we're on the road to be at.
And if you were a small school with 50 students, can you outsource a counselor or?
Some schools share counselors.
Counselors are hard to come by.
Okay, any more discussion, questions? Before we vote? Okay, hearing none, all in favor? Say aye.
Aye.
Okay, opposed, same sign. Okay, motion carries. Finance, more finance. All right, so 23-24 budget. Does this take us to a different, oh yeah, this takes us to a spreadsheet.
Okay. So, we'll just start at the top and work our way down. And if you have any questions, just let me know. So the first section is undistributed expenses, so that's basically expenses that are throughout the whole entire district. And library's the first one. Regular salary certified is Dr. Vogel in there, and then salary non-certified staff would be the pairs that are helping out in the library. Go down to dues and fees, you see it's 7,600. Basically, that pays for the Full Ed Destiny Library Program. Is that what it's called?
And that was on the bills, this last one, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I think that's like 6,000. And what Amber and I did is we tried to clean it up as much as possible and eliminate any extra object codes in there to try and clean it up a little bit. Any questions on library?
So we're saying that the library here is paid, the salary is part the principal?
Yeah.
Is that what we're doing?
She has her library credential,
Okay.
so that's how we meet the compliance for the library. She basically oversees the operation, but the pairs take care of the work. other questions on library? Next, contracted ELL, that's English Language Learner.
Thank you.
And last year we spent $4,500, and I do think that we have the same number of students
So far.
so far. So that, I put 4,500 in there, and that's through RESP. RESP has a ELL instructor, so then she helps all the local school districts with their ELL kids, making plans and making sure all the accommodations and testing and everything is met. Next, we have the school board. It's pretty self-explanatory. Liability insurance, that is for the board members. Right? And then dues and fees. There's all the fees, North Dakota School Board Association, North Dakota Small Organized Schools. What else? There's a lot of them in there. But basically, those are all the memberships that, oil and gas, we're a member of that as well. And then, if you noticed from last time, I took out the professional development line item, and we moved that down to dues and fees. So when you go to the North Dakota School Boards Association and we pay that registration fee, it's going to go under dues and fees. And then your travel, for your hotel, lodging, that will go under travel.
So what's the workforce safety insurance?
That's through WSI.
Right. But we pay that for board?
Workers' comp.
But why is it on the board item?
It's always been there.
Oh, it's just always been there? Okay. But is that's for WSI for employees?
I think that's everybody in the district.
Everybody in the district? Oh, okay. It's just, seems odd for me to put it there, but fine, fair enough.
Any other questions? Superintendent? Any questions there? Business office. We have that'd be all the salaries for secretarial and business manager. Dues and fees, there's quite a bit in there, and how much is Software Unlimited?
Like
12,000.
like 12 and 13,000.
And then what else is in there? I should have wrote that down.
No, that's for the software. I mean, our timekeeping system comes out of there.
Oh. Where did we put payroll? Is that coming out of there?
Oh, yeah,
Or-
like CREA, CREA, that comes out of just dues and fees.
Our payroll services.
Yeah.
And we had talked about moving that maybe to a 300, but because it's a contracted service. I mean, object code
Yeah.
300.
It could, yeah, it's certainly.
If you want to see it separate, but it's about
Like 15 to 1,600 a month.
so that's in there as well.
Okay.
Operation and maintenance. Basically, you know, we just took numbers from last year that we spent for like heat, electricity, gasoline, and that's what we budgeted, so. Property insurance is under operation and maintenance. And speaking of property insurance, if, every 6 years you need to have, the auditors come in, or the bean counters come in, and you need to update your, property insurance. So I do believe that 2019 was the last time that we had it done, so that means next year in what? Yeah.
So we basically have to hire someone to come in and review all coverages, or how does that?
Northwest valuation.
Northwest valuations. That's what we've had the last couple of times.
So basically, what, everything should have a tag on it, and they go through and kind of get an estimate from teachers, what do you got in your room, blah, 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 and then they go around and they scan stuff and figure out everything, yeah.
Sounds pretty involved.
Yeah, and it costs about $7,000.
And when is that due?
2019, so it'd be 25. 24, 25, you should probably start thinking about having them come in. And usually it's like
Do they,
in the summer.
do they put a value on the big stuff too, like the building? They say, hey, you're insured
Yep, I
for,
think they do. put a
I think they
value on
do
it.
everything.
this should be a $10 million building or whatever they come up with.
And, you have a new floor, you have HVAC system, all that stuff needs to be added in there. Crow's nest, or your addition to the crow's nest, all that's part of the property.
Sure.
Make sure we're covered.
Do we have a list where we're adding things like that? Because remember, was it 2 years ago, we had those bleachers over, we went there. And they weren't
They
insured.
weren't on there.
We should probably have a list as we.
There is a
add-
list.
There is a
Okay.
list that, or that Dakota Community has with all of our,
Yeah, it
yeah.
details
Yeah.
each item and how much, so
Yeah.
apparently
So
that must have
that is-
been missed.
Yeah, got missed.
So that is a separate service of the insurance itself. The insurance company themselves doesn't do that assessment. Does the insurance company then just rely on that assessment? Or whatever we give them then for what we,
We're insured
what we
through the
actually
North
want.
Dakota Insurance Fund, aren't we? North Dakota Insurance Fund is who we're.
North Dakota Insurance.
okay,
So I would imagine, yeah, we have to hire a firm.
We have to hire them to come in and bean count, and then we have to report to them.
okay. And then they'll use that to decide our values. Interesting.
Well, I'm guessing when you're insured through the North Dakota Insurance Reserve Fund, it's a lot lower rate than going
Oh,
through
by
private,
far, yeah.
Okay.
private
I
enterprise.
see. That makes sense.
So
Yep.
that's what you have to do to get that.
But Amber and I talked about that, we do have, should we talk to the insurance company and just give a guesstimate? I mean, what we spent on the floor, 60,000, the HVAC, 160,000, and have them add that in there?
Oh, ahead of time.
Yes.
Oh, you
I think we
certainly,
should add that right now.
You certainly
Right,
could.
right, because it's already done, and,
It's done and it's a phone call.
right. That's-
It's kind of your big items, like, hey, yeah, if something happened, if you had a fire in the middle of the gym floor for some
Right,
crazy
we want to
reason.
make sure that it's.
Yeah, hey, those are the floor.
I mean, if something, I guess, for the board to hear about it, if it was, like, say above 1, 2, or 3% or something, that was gonna drive up the cost, but I can't imagine anything like that's gonna be material enough to get excited about.
Would be that bad. You're talking, 100,000 here, 50,000 there,
Yeah.
everything. But yeah, you definitely want insurance on that fancy, 2 new floors.
Right. So we'll get that taken care of. And this rent was for dumpsters, construction dumpsters, I guess. When they were doing the floor.
Sure, yeah.
And there was, I put 1,000 in there, we spent 300 so far. And we don't foresee any more, but that's what the rent is. Anything else on operation maintenance? Student transportation. 27,300 is the contracted route. Repair and maintenance services, we spent $32,000 last year, so that's what I budgeted. I'm hoping that it's not that much, since
We spent a
You
fair
know,
amount on the
Big
activities
Blue.
bus.
Insurance for the buses. Fuel, we spent $46,000 last year, so that's what I budgeted again.
That might be higher.
Yeah,
It's already
Can
higher.
be,
seems like it when you go to the pump.
Yep.
Went down 20 cents though in the last couple of days.
Jody said it's good.
And then the workshop, well, that shouldn't be workshop fees, it should be dues and fees in there. I should change it. So, in there we have Bus Boss, which is the software that I'm gonna use to do the routes. I think that's like $2,500, and then we have RESP Workshop that we just had. Bus driver workshop, that was like $800, and then for our training for the new bus driver was $1,500, I do believe.
What does the bus boss add for value? What's it do?
It basically, I can create all the routes, and it saves all those scenarios for me. So when we get down to the next part about the family transportation that we're talking about, we can estimate how much miles it is, how much time it is, and then we can, it's all set up just for transportation. And it makes it so much easier when I go and do the year-end transportation report, because all I gotta do is print it out and it's all there.
Okay,
And
so it's
then-
not a daily management system of the buses, like
No.
for some sort of app that parents can
So,
say,
so
hey,
then-
kid's not on, or any of that.
so then when next year, when the new guy comes, he can get trained in on Bus Boss and just use the same scenario that I created from last year and
Sure.
transfer it over. Next we have computer services. This would be Atom phone. And the copiers, for some reason, were a separate code, 2844, and a different line item. So we moved it into Atoms under 300. And that would be with ABM. And that's 25,500, and that's for all the copiers in the whole entire district. Repair and maintenance, okay? And Amber and I talked about this section here. Repair and maintenance would be if someone brings their computer to Adam, he needs to order a screen, he needs to order a keyboard, blah, 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 whatever to fix it, it comes out of that line item. The supplies and equipment, that's for Adam himself, if Adam needs a new computer or something. So all the other computers should be dispersed in junior high, high school, elementary, whatever. And then the fees, dues and fees. So in there, we have the ITD bill, which is $200 and some a month, and that's, I do believe, for the T1 line for Taylor. And then we have Intune management system, which is through the state, and that basically manages the Microsoft Office, whatever, Teams, and that's $200 and some. So that's like $430 a month, whatever, for that. And then the other thing that's in there is for like $4,500. We've been having problems with the internet in Mrs. Cronk's room, and with the software that Adam has, he can't pinpoint or really see what's going on. So this we're gonna do it for 1 year, and he thinks he can get it figured out after this year, then we wouldn't have to have that expenditure after that. But there's some sensors that they set up in there, and then he can monitor what's happening in that room. So. Debt service payments, I do believe that's for bus. Or what is that for?
Yeah, that's one of the buses.
And then moving down to preschool.
Why are we, do we have debt that we should just pay off if we got extra instead of incurring interest? Like something like that?
I would say it would depend on what the interest rate is.
Fair enough.
Do we have one bus that we're paying on yet? Is that two?
Two,
Two buses?
So if it's low enough, there's no sense in.
because one was a route bus, so that's why that one's up there, and then the other one was the activity bus. That's coming down.
I would assume the activity bus was a pretty low rate, because at
Yeah.
the time when we got it, rates were really low.
No,
Be better off for,
Could probably put that money in a CD and make money on
Okay.
it instead of spending it. I mean, in all reality.
good point.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
'Cause I think you're just under 5% right now.
For advisory.
Okay, any questions on preschool? Pretty straightforward.
How does that look anymore though? What's it costing our parents?
I have no idea what the rate is.
125 a month.
oh, for preschool, sorry.
125.
But is that, if you're on free and reduced, is it reduced? No?
Only if they are on an IEP or have special services, then yes,
Yes.
but otherwise not.
And if somebody is really, has a hard time paying it, all they have to do is come to me and say, you know, we have hardship and we're not able to pay that.
How many students we got? in there?
Preschool.
18.
There's about 8 of them that are special services, so they wouldn't be charged.
Oh, okay,
Yeah.
yeah, so we got about 10 paying.
We got some 3-year-olds that come in, we got, 4-year-olds that come in once a week,
Yeah, and if they're special ed, we don't charge them because
we
we're,
get money from them.
So then you probably answered my question, but I'm assuming there's no one out there that's not participating because of the cost.
I would sure hope not.
Okay,
Transportation is the thing. They don't
Sure.
want it.
you know,
Okay. What did we do with that? We took that 15,000 out for preschool, because we thought that was part of
Yeah.
speech services, right? Okay. Right? Yeah, okay. So, next we have speech services, and this would be for the whole entire district, and it's through West River Student Services. It'd be Justine Jermanson. That's not her salary. That's everything in there. Next we have contracted services with West River. And this is not speech services. We have to pay our fair share to belong to the organization. And then, at the end of the year, they administer all of the student contracts. And so there's an administrative fee that they, and it was about 12,000 altogether last year. Next, we have extracurricular student transportation. That's pretty straightforward. Student activities. So we have regular salary certified and salary non-certified, and we spent 63,000 in each of those last year. And then the AD contract is 13,000, I do believe. And then the reason why you have to separate the certified and the non-certified is because TFFR is taken out for the certified coaches. And then equipment, you know, that's about what we spent last year. So you got all your football helmets and all that stuff in there. Jersey, uniforms, I don't know if there's any.
Boys basketball got new uniforms.
Okay, boys basketball got uniforms, so that would go in there. Dues and fees, that's all in there.
Got any memberships or tournaments they go
Yeah.
to?
So, tournaments, yeah, volleyball tournaments, there's always a fee for that. What else is in there? I can't think of.
Cross country.
And then they had split out awards and fees. I don't know why they put fees there, but basically that line item was split out so they could see, you know, what are you spending on trophies. But, so I just left it in there. We could take that out if we want. Debt service, there's a big goal for the activity bus. Summer school instruction. Kindergarten instruction. $120 is gonna be K through 4. And this is where I wanted, well, this is gonna tie into the ESSER 2 fund. But if you go down to the equipment line item, I got 14,200 in there. And what I did is, I had contacted Mrs. Butterworth, and it's not the syrup, but she's in charge of the ESSER, North Dakota ESSER stuff. So I had sent stuff to her because I want to get it approved before I go and purchase stuff, and, you know. So I asked her about music instruments and stuff like that, because I looked it up on the internet. I found tons of articles about how it, you know, music is good for your well-being. So I was taking that route. And she wholeheartedly agreed with me, but then said, you always have to go back to how is it responding, preventing, or I don't know what the other one was. Back to COVID. And then she proceeded to say, well, why don't you just spend it on salaries, and then you can use that savings from salaries to purchase your stuff that you're talking about. Then, of course, they would like it that way because it's much cleaner and simpler. So what we're thinking about with the ESSER $3 then is, well, we want to upgrade all the boards, smart boards in the high school, and then take the rest, or once we figure out what we want to do, take the rest and do it in salaries. And then it's going to make everything look weird on the budget, but it's going to free up money in there. The thing with salaries is you can't just wait till the end of the year and submit it. It has to be within that 120 days. So every 120 days we have to be submitting. So Amber and I are going to sit down. We're going to figure out, you know, kind of put together what we think and send it off to Mrs. Butterworth and get her approval, and then bring it back to you guys for the ESER 3 stuff.
So, chasing this, kinda went full circle. The instrument piece, where did that fit in? Was there a need for that? Is that an ask or some sort of a?
Yeah, they're, in talking with Mrs. Grass, Miss
Uh-huh.
Grass,
Okay,
she needs a new clavinova over here. And we were gonna take the one that's over here and move it over to Taylor, cause this one has a USB, which you can record music and then she can just plug the USB in and it'll play for her. Over at the elementary, she doesn't currently have that now. Xylophones, the elementary doesn't have any xylophones, so I put that in there. So in this elementary one, I have, $5,219.40 is basically that, and then let me grab I wrote all this down.
so while he's chasing that though, my question is this, the point. Isn't ESSER funds, the purpose of the funding was for catching up on missing COVID instruction time, those types of pieces, right? I find it interesting that Buttersworth here talked about salary. I'm really interested in that. Not so much concerned about a $14,000 line item or music, but definitely the bigger picture of using the ESSER funds rather than foregoing them. And if something like that, like salary, we can justify it in terms of increased instruction or something that helps catch up on that. You know, so I don't know, we kind of came around on this point of using ESSER funds in a small amount. I think we had 380 or what was the number? Something, I don't know where I get that, but there's a lot of ESSER funds left, isn't there?
There's 231.
231.
That's just on ESER 2.
That's just ESER 2, there's 521,000 on ESER 5.
But I mean,
Okay, so,
on the,
xylophones, 5,219, risers for in the music room, $6,000, desks for the first grade room, 2,500, 14,200. Dues and fees, I don't remember, I think there's testing Renaissance, is that split up between everybody?
The STAR testing? Is that,
Yeah.
okay.
Office of Principal Services, this would be, Mr. Patterson, a percentage of it. Okay, then we have to separate, the special ed out for K through 4, so that's what 200, 240 is. Whenever you see a 240, that's referring to special ed, and whenever you see the 200, you know that's referring to TRE. And basically what I did with all the paraprofessionals, except for one, they're all under the special ed departments. So you can see here, salary non-certified, salary certified.
are they all used for special ed?
Yes.
Okay.
And then we have elementary instruction. This would be 210. This is now referring to grades 5 and 6. And if you go down to the equipment line item there, I update that one. Yeah, I have 5,000, but I came up with 5,800. Clavinova, percentage of that. Xylophones, a percentage of that.
Was that line 216? On the
Yes,
far
sir.
left? Okay,
Yes. On 730 is equipment. Yeah.
okay.
And then that's a portion of Dr. Vogel's for elementary 5 and 6. And then we go down to special ed for 5 through 6. And then we move into the 300s. 300, 130 is junior high. And if you go down the equipment line item there, $8,200. Part of the clavinova, part of the xylophones, part of the drums, and 2 new euphoniums. And I found out what a euphonium is. It's a small tuba, I guess. And then $1,000 for supplies. If they need new microscopes or some kind of equipment for classes. And then we go down to principal services, once again, Dr. Vogel, junior high. Then special ed for junior high. And then we go down to junior high tech ed. So that would be with, I was going to say Mr. Rowetter, but that's not right. Mr. Isaac. We don't get paid for junior high, reimbursed by the state for junior high. So that's why we have to have it in a separate line item. He has one class with 8th graders.
Applied tech.
Applied tech, so that has to be split out. Same with office occupations. Mrs. Dorman has 2 or 3 classes, or 1.
Which one are you referring to, I'm sorry?
Mrs.
The junior
Dorman,
high?
looks like 1. Is that right for the salary? Seems like it should be
Just
12%.
keyboarding. That's the only one I have.
Oh, that is
Yeah.
12%. Yeah, just keyboarding. Once again, that has to be split out because we don't get reimbursed for junior high. Next, we have 400, 140, which refers to high school. And then you go down to the equipment line item there, you can see that it's $16,500. So what I did is I split out all of her equipment requests into each section. And of course, 9 through 12 has the most classes, so that was the higher percentage. So
that was all the equipment that's underneath elementary here, junior high and high school is all banned.
except for there was a few items, like she had some desks in
Okay.
there.
'Cause-
And risers.
So it was like $33,000 for argument's sake, 32,800 I think is what I came up with.
Well, I guess I didn't have them all.
Okay. And is this money that's spent or requested?
This is money that, when I get down to the ESER 2, you'll see that we have all these items that we've taken out.
Yep, no, I understand how you're doing it, yeah,
Yeah,
I get that,
so-
but I'm just curious, so that's what we're spending this year for the music department?
Right, because now is the great time, if you need this expensive stuff
To upgrade.
for them
Right,
to upgrade.
right,
When
right.
we have the money to do it.
Right.
So that's why I told everybody, bring me your wish list.
Yeah, but that's, I'm just making sure that I understand that that's what that's,
Yeah,
okay.
I guess I didn't add up all the equipment. That's probably about right. So in there, in addition to that, she wanted, some drums and the euphoniums, got that in there. Clavinova, and then $1,000 for supplies for anybody else. So the reason why I'm telling you about this, because when you go ahead and approve the budget, then I'm gonna give her the go-ahead and,
Okay. So essentially, you're taking this 32,800 out of
the
ESER essentially.
Right, because
It's
we're
just
saving,
moving,
yeah.
okay, I get it.
Just wait till we start working with salaries, then it'll really be messed up. Okay. Office of Principal Service, Dr. Vogel again. Learning disabilities for high school. And here's Mr. Isaac, that would be for tech ed for the high school. And then Mrs. Dorman for business. And then this is the number I want you to pay attention to, is, so we came up with $5,174,000 in expenditures. Now, what's also added in there is if you go down, Title I, you notice it's general fund is 01, 068 means it's federal, and 261 means it's Title I, right? And then the 1,000 means that it's part of the, what? General fund budget. So that's added into the expenditure line item. And this is kind of messed up on the bottom here. We haven't split everything out as far as ESSER II funds, but this is in there as well. That would be what we would claim at the end of September here, $231,000. But when I go to the revenue now, you'll see that it's basically offset. Same with the title. But it needs to be put in the expenditures. Any questions on expenditures?
Oh, that's a lot of stuff.
Thanks.
Yeah, please.
Sure. I put some in the fridge.
John?
I've got one, thank you.
I'm good, I'm good.
So, thank you. Now if we go to the revenue, and looking at the general fund, district property taxes, miscellaneous mills, telecom tax, that's what we got last year. Tuitions from LEAs, last year we got 150,000. I don't know if that's, so I cut it down, you know, on expenditure, I kind of pad things, and then on revenue, I kind of go under what we think. So, I mean, and basically what that is if we have somebody open enrolled, they have to pay for the special ed. So, and that goes back to West River Student Services administering those contracts. They make up those contracts and send them off to the school, or send them to us, and then we send and bill the school. Let's see. And this isn't split up into local, state, federal. It's all lumped into one here. But when it gets put in the revenue, when we enter it in, it'll split it all up. Per pupil aid, 2.8 million, and that's just going from what Mr. Tesher gave us. Transportation aid, same as last year. And there you can see the title. So that 121,000 that we had in expenditures is offset by that. Same with the ESSER II. I did not put any ESSER III in there yet, because we wanted to sit down and figure out how we want to do that and bring it to you and have you approve it. So we can, and we can always amend the budget if, you know, later on. If you want. So what we came up with was 5.4 million as of now. So we are about 255,000 to the good yet. questions on any of that?
My revenue's way faster than expenses.
Yeah. Too bad, isn't it? And since we're talking about budget, I'm just
What's
gonna,
miscellaneous mills? Why is that a separate line item there?
that's 12 mils.
Oh, okay, so
So-
you just keep that separate for
Yeah.
account, okay.
Takes it out on each.
Mhm.
So that's leeway that the legislatures gave you.
Yeah.
So if you wanted to do something special with it, you say, okay, I'm gonna use it for this. And so we decided to use it for paying for the building. So that's why, I mean, after 20 years is up, you could look at removing that 12 mils. And then say if you wanted to buy a bus, then you could say, oh, well, this year, we're gonna increase your, to buy a bus, basically. But,
I'm guessing in another, what do we got left, 13 years?
13.
There'll be something else we have to build or do with the 12 miscellaneous mills.
Oh, before I skip going to the ESER, we'll finish this up, because we need a motion on this one to approve the budget.
Okay, so we need a motion on all the budget we have just gone through, expenses and revenue. 23-24 budget.
Well, I guess if we could, I wouldn't mind going through the ESER before this is approved to understand a little more what can be and what we're thinking to do with the ESER. To me, I mean, I'll just throw it there. If you're gonna buy some little trombones, buy some little trombones and call it an equipment and throw it in there. I get trying to use the ESER funds for, but it's not like 30,000 equipment asked for band is a big deal. I just see it, call a spade a spade.
It's
but-
not, that's not ESER funds.
So what
You
was
can't
I
use,
not
you
following?
can't use that
use
38,
that.
you can't use that for ESSER funds. So basically
Right.
what he's saying is this 32.8 is being offset with
No,
salary.
okay, so you're not following what I'm saying. I'm saying just throw the 32.8 in there as an equipment and pay for it with our funds.
That's what
But-
we are doing.
So yes,
So
it's in the
if you
budget.
look at this, okay, so all of these here, like the computers, we
Okay.
bought 50 new computers. So we took that out of ESER instead of taking it out of the general fund.
Okay,
Same with the iPads.
right,
And then we have the Lightspeed filter management system. We took that out of there.
Fair enough.
Schoolology. All these are gonna be bills that next year are gonna have to go on regular line items and not in ESER. Science curriculum.
fair enough, but what about the intent that you walked us through to hit the ESER funds with some sort of salary to offset this 30,000,
That's-
this equipment,
No, that's ESER 3.
okay,
ESER 2, we need to get done by the end of this month
right,
to get our money. So that's why I went, put all this together,
okay,
stuck it in there, sent it off to Mrs. Butterworth. She put syrup on it, said, it's good to go.
okay,
And so science curriculum, math curriculum, Alex is math intervention, Renaissance is, that's all our star reading, star math, tuition for getting people highly qualified, Discovery Ed, iStation. Oh, we have that full length in there. So we could, so like, for example, now that line item under library for 810 for the fullette, we can reduce that because we'll take it out of ESER. So you're saving basically $6,395 out of the general fund. Pathways to curriculum, or, yeah, pathways to curriculum. Pathways curriculum, and then PD training for pathways, and that's the reading program and K through.
So are most of these annual bills, so we'll see them
Very
again.
much,
So the ESSER 2 money is essentially where we're making up in the profit of.
yes, sir,
Yeah. Okay. Otherwise we'd be,
yeah.
Otherwise, our
even.
budget would be,
Yeah.
flat.
yeah, and that's essentially how we made last year too, was because of ESSER money.
Right. So, the water fountains I threw in there, I think that should qualify. Amber and I agree, but we don't know Butterworth.
The new ones over it.
Yeah, cause, I mean, I think that's a first, they can fill up their water bottles now, so. I think that's a response to COVID.
What's Northern Cast?
That's the, Innovation
Oh, okay.
Academy. And we put,
So are all of these things that were going to happen anyway, and we're just taking them to ESSER funds because we can? Oh, okay.
except for, well, yeah,
Did we ask the
unless you were
question?
gonna buy the computers.
So did we ask the question, is there something teachers or staff want that, you know, I hear the instruments, but related to that,
I
loss
asked
of learning and-
everybody
uh-huh.
to give me a wish list. Everybody.
I did, sorry, I did not hear that over at Geneva
I
at
was
all.
not.
Nope.
I was not.
Never got it.
So all I'm saying is, it's one thing to use it to offset budget, the ESSER funds, it's another thing to talk
Well, we
about.
still have ESSER 3 funds
Correct,
for
yeah.
521,000, so please give me your wish list, please.
Yeah.
Right now, we need to get this spent so we can get our money,
Yeah, fair enough.
you know, ESSER 3, then we can take some time,
Then we got a little more time.
but we should
Well,
get
not
it figured
much.
out,
We don't have a lot.
because
No,
that's September 2024. But if, you know, that's $521,000.
Yeah.
That's a lot of money to spend in that amount of time. That's why we were thinking salaries is the best way to go, and then get the wish lists, and we can do whatever we need from there. And my apologies. At the moment, I was just going around trying to get
Right.
this done for this time. But most definitely, spread the word over there, send your wish lists, okay? Yeah.
I think you should just ask, and then it's either a yes or no.
Yeah.
Put it all on
Well,
there.
really, because what are we
Yep.
Yeah, this is the time to do it.
$531,000 on.
Well, we've got some things promised us, we're gonna be.
Well, and I mean, I'll just say this, I
Fine,
appreciate
have a
that,
wish list.
you know, Mr. Bouts, you come into this, I get it. You got some deadlines, it's one thing to handle. But you know, for the greater purpose of the ESSER funds, and certainly the teachers, we had that downtime due to COVID, and they picked up the slack and that, but if there's something that can help with that, I wanna hear about that. I get your intent here, but just wanna voice that out there, that there's
And
something
then,
we should be
Mr.
doing.
Paulson, this is all saving money in the main,
Yeah, I get that.
I
I totally get that.
I think what he's saying is, so if it's something that we couldn't use ESSER funds for, like the HVAC, they
Yeah.
said, no, you can't use it. So they use salary in ESSER funds to offset the HVAC.
But I'm saying if we want to buy HVAC, we just, it's part of our general fund, right?
Then what should we spend the extra money on?
Okay,
I mean,
I'll
you
say
have
it
a
again.
different idea,
If
but-
there's some needs that
what they're
the
doing.
teachers see that came from the loss of instruction due to COVID, let's for sure try to address those with the ESSER. That's the purpose of it, right?
Okay.
So we should be chasing that as much as a HVAC system or, right? You follow what I'm saying?
Yeah, kinda, yeah. I mean.
I mean, the
HVAC
purpose of the
system
ESSER funds
was a
wasn't
need
to
from COVID
offset
too,
to
right?
save general fund money. I mean, certainly if we can do that and that's what we find to use for the funds, fine.
I think as far as the HVAC goes, we were told that that's
Sure.
specifically
and
what
it
ESSER funds was
qualified.
for.
Right, yeah.
And then
But
but
now
then
they're
it
saying no.
didn't.
Yeah.
then it
Yeah.
didn't qualify.
yeah, and with that, you should have started way at the beginning where you need to, because you had to fill out a detailed sheet about, you had to do your procurement for
Yeah,
your.
it just wasn't filled out right
yeah.
in order to go through the process
You
of
would have
getting
to
a
start at the
ESSER.
beginning.
Right.
And then come to find out, if you would've did all that, and then find out that once you hit the salary thing, all of a sudden,
Right.
Because initially they told us, you know, fresh air was one of the biggest things.
Sure, yeah,
Get fresh air into your schools.
right. Oh, yeah, I hear you.
Which,
There's
by
a
the
lot
way,
of,
pulls in the smoke,
And
just
then,
so you know.
and
You
then
can't
all
shut
of,
it off.
and then all of a sudden it's, no, that didn't qualify. You gotta follow all
can't
these
have it.
rules to
We
make
should
that.
ask.
no, I hear you, but I'm just saying is where we're at now.
You know, that's kind of where we were at. We we were planning on spending some of this ESER two money for that.
Sure,
Now we're kind of back against the wall, we gotta spend it.
I hear you, absolutely.
So at least if we get this all done, we still have money in our general fund to do some of these ideas that you can come up with.
Well, not, Shannon, I'm not asking for ideas that I come up with, the last, closing that statement. All I'm saying is that, let's, you know, and Mr. Bouts made the point that you had to start at the beginning, but before we talk ESER
I
three,
opened
let's
it, so
look forward, you know, there's
grab it
some
tight, I opened
things
it.
in here that look good for curriculum, you know, enhancements, this kind of thing, but we all have students that kind of lost some instructional time, if nothing else, and the teachers are working to catch that up. So if we can support them with these funds, that needs to be a consideration, that's all I'm saying.
You know,
And
we
it's
try
not
and do that every
me to
year.
come up with that.
We try and do that every year.
I hear you.
Well, I think some of it too is that they hired more paras too because of that. The need was there, so some of it's there too. And that's,
I mean, that would be, you know, we had talked about special ed paras would be salaries, you know.
Sure.
That would be a good,
Pretty good one.
pretty good one, so.
Yeah, let's go.
The other thing that I added in here was the Promethean board, the high school special ed doesn't have one, and I put that in there, but we've been talking with Promethean, and, we're gonna get a quote for all of them, and then we'll bring that back and talk about that. But computers, now, we got, 50 computers, I think, for students. I think now it's been about 5 years or so, and it's time to update all the staff computers, yours as well. Everybody gets, and Adam sent out a survey to all the teachers, asking them, you know, what are your preferences, what would you like? And then he's putting that together for me, and that's what that will be. So that would be all district staff, school board members, paras, teachers.
We don't
What's
do
that?
any type of a, the school just purchases and owns computers, we don't do any type of a
Right.
rental or.
What we do is we go
lease
through
agreement.
VIG,
Okay.
and we can get refurbished.
Mm-hmm.
So basically, there's a little scratch on it or something.
Right.
It works perfectly fine, but it saves the district a lot of money from purchasing brand new ones. And that was thanks to Mr. Eloise coming up with that.
And the kids are tough on them. They're rough.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Not always do they try, but they get used.
Any other ESER 2 questions?
Okay, so we go back to approving our budget,
Oh, yeah.
is where we left off. So, do we have a motion to approve our 23-24 budget?
Also move.
Okay, moved by Shannon, we have a second.
I'll second.
Second, okay. Discussion on that. More discussion? We've had a lot. Okay, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Okay, motion carries for our 23-24 budget. Thank you for putting all that together, Mr. Bowles and Anna. Let's go right to ESER 2 and approving that. We have a motion to approve ESER 2 application.
I'll make a motion to approve.
Okay, thank you. A second?
So move.
Second. Okay, discussion on ESER 2 funds anymore? Okay, seeing none, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion carries. Family Transportation Agreement. So we've got a
Okay,
special agreement here.
Yes, and this has started already, but I went ahead and made the agreement with Mrs. Aiken. She called me the week before school started and was wondering why she was not getting school to front door pickup. And it's basically because she's she's 7 miles one way from Marshall. And before, she was not in the school district, and she had asked before when I was here if she could get reimbursed mileage for bringing her kid there, and I said no, because you're open enrolled. However, now she is in the school district, and she feels that, you know, she should have a bus coming to her house if she wants that, which I agreed, but I said, at this point in time, we can't do that because it adds too much time, and it would be Bernie's route. It adds too much time. You know, your kid would be getting on the bus between 6 and 6:15, and I don't think anybody wants their kid on the bus at that time. So what we did is we made a family transportation agreement for this year. I told her we would pay her to transport her kid to the Marshall drop-off. And we just went by the state mileage rate, so 65 cents a mile, 28 miles a day, so that's 14 in the morning, 14 in the afternoon. And it's $18.34 a day, comes out to about 3,000 something total. And then I told her the transportation committee would then take a look at the northern routes and see what we can come up with as far as a plan for the next year. And try and cut off some time, because everybody's so spread out up there. You know, you got Olson's over here, Paulson's over here, Aiken's up there. So you know, it might require another bus, a small bus, just to pick up some of those to
We're gonna end up
some
running
time.
several small buses that we're gonna be doing with that.
Well, I did notice when I was doing the bus routes, like Shauna Dressler's route is a long route, and a majority of her people are down towards Taylor and to the, I mean, she's going way out to Dorman's, but yet she's supposed to start at Paulson's. So, I mean, to me, it would make sense to move maybe her down and just do that lower section and then move another one up to hit those ones that are way up there. But,
What grade is this youngest? Is it sixth grade?
No, she's four.
oh, fourth grade.
Yeah.
So she's gonna be around.
Yep.
So I would need a and Mrs. Aiken and I talked about it, and she was good with it, and she
Good with
thanked me for looking into it and taking care of it, so.
Okay,
And one question on that, so if we fund like this, does it still get reimbursed from the state the same as any other transportation, any busing?
That, I don't.
Not that it's enough money to get excited about, but I was just curious about
But
that.
now that you mention that, I don't have that in the budget. It's 3,000.
Right.
Well, the state doesn't increase transportation, so you're gonna get the same.
Yeah, I think the number's the number, isn't it, for?
Yeah,
I mean, do you just call the 7 miles part of the,
Well, I'd have to double check with the FEM. I do believe, because we did family transportation before, and I think we were able to count those miles, but, and plus, now they're in our district, so we should be able to count those.
well, it's certainly at a lower rate than you can run a bus up there for.
Right.
Okay, got a motion on,
I'll make a motion to approve the transportation agreement.
okay, got a motion, in a second, any more discussion on that, any more questions? Seeing none, all in favor, say aye. Opposed, same sign? Okay, motion carries. Okay, our added agenda item was the superintendent search, and I guess simply, do we wanna kick that off again with North Dakota School Boards Association?
yeah, sooner than later.
It's basically, get it rolling and post it, I think, can you take care of that for us, Amber, to get it, basically get the ball rolling again on that? If that is our wishes? I mean, yeah, we might as well, I mean,
The sooner it's
So-
out there, the more
so we-
candidates you're gonna have an opportunity at.
but to recap, we hired School Boards Association to help us with the search, right? And that's, just remind us on the fees on that again. Do you remember?
It was like $2,500 to start out with.
I think it was
Like $5,000.
5,000, like you had to pay half up front and then you pay the other half once you actually hire
Hire
someone.
somebody, okay. Yeah. So you guys okay with?
I think we should
Yeah,
stay with them.
Stay with them and get the ball rolling on that?
I would.
Do we need a motion on that?
I mean, to that point, and I'll ask this to Mr. Bouts, does most superintendents know that that's a feature, is look at the School Boards Association site? That's enough advertisement, what I'm saying? And most superintendents would know to look there?
That's where I look.
Okay.
Yeah, and I don't know if they did some active, they don't really do any active recruiting, do they?
And what's nice about the North Dakota School Board Association is they know people.
Sure.
Do they post it anywhere else, or is it just on their?
They just post it on there.
Okay.
If you wanna post it somewhere else, you have to post it.
Right.
But they know superintendents, and so if there's one that,
Yeah.
Would be looking or whatever.
that they say, no, don't go there.
Okay.
So they do vet the applicants before, and then they vet them, and then they give them to you.
Right.
What do they do for vetting?
Look through them and see. I don't know what they do.
Okay, that's that question.
They've given us like,
They've given us year and A's on.
yay or nays on
Yeah.
different ones.
Oh,
Or they'll say, this was a frequent flyer, he just puts out applicants to every job that's open.
But I think we've gotten every name of every applicant.
Yeah, they'll give us every.
They'll give
name,
us them,
Okay.
you know, but they'll.
But then
say, hey,
they'll say, well,
doesn't
this is
matter.
probably not as,
Yeah.
not as good as some of the other ones.
okay.
Okay. Is this something we need a motion on though?
I'll make a motion to go ahead and hire school, North
Okay.
Dakota School Board Association to start superintendent search.
Okay. Is there a second on
I'll
that?
second.
Motion and second. Any more discussion on that? Questions? Okay, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Okay, motion carried. So the search will be underway. RACTC report?
Nope, we had another meeting. It's really interesting meeting because they are 1 hour.
I know, cause they have a
It's
meeting
like-
behind it.
They have an agenda and they keep it and it's like, but he dropped the bombshell on us just before. And Jody probably could give us more on that. They're looking at consolidating with another consortium, either going with Dickinson Public Schools, so then the students would be, it would be like they would go there and be hands-on there, or stay like we are, where the students are here and then this teacher is, so that's, they're just looking at it, or we stay as we are. Sounds like we're overloading our head person there, so she said if we stay as we are, she would need more energy drinks, so.
Rhonda Wood.
Yeah.
Oh.
She sounds like she's overloaded, so that's what they're looking at, that's what most of the meeting was about that night, so. That's all in RACTC.
Yeah, there's an interesting dynamic there too with the, with that CTE Academy, you know, basically all those Halliburton buildings, you know, being purchased by Dickinson Public School, and then they're starting to have classes out there and different things, and they wanna roll it together with, basically with us, right, with
Right.
RACTC, I mean.
Right. But I know like some of the.
What's their intent there? Is it just a funding issue, or are they wanting, do they see like learning value in that?
I don't know, they're trying to make this huge academy work.
Right.
The big, you know, career and technical center work.
Right.
And.
And they don't know where they're at either, because they're
Not
in the,
really.
they're in the preliminary, they don't even have costs of what it's gonna do. you know,
Sure.
So they're kind of, yeah.
And RACTC has been very successful over the years by,
Mhm.
you know, by offering these extra classes and the equipment and the different things that RACTC does. They've been successful, they've run a good budget,
Yeah.
you know, they've done well. And I think the Career and Tech Center wants to latch onto that,
Oh, okay.
You know, and at some point, it doesn't make sense to have a bunch of individual ones, especially side by side like that. I mean, this isn't Dickinson and RACTC, it's the southwest area. It's like,
Some of the concern from the
But-
RACT people was that, you know, to have kids go up there for,
absolutely.
let's say, a welding class, if you're gonna send them from Gwinnett, the kid's gonna be out of school for
Yep.
too long.
Yeah.
It's too much travel time.
Right, it is.
So that's an issue that they're having, they're gonna have to work that out and figure it out.
Yeah,
so.
it's really a good center for Dickinson, but
Yeah, it's perfect for Dickinson.
You
And
know,
South Hart,
to
You know,
try and
7
take
miles
stuff
away.
away from your outlying schools by taking away the RACTC,
yeah,
I don't think is right either.
Yeah,
I mean,
right.
I think we should still keep those services, you know, alive and healthy. I'm just afraid if you go altogether, you're gonna lose something
right.
in rural schools. But,
Yep.
yeah.
But it's a 1 hour meeting, and when it's up, there are people going, they got another meeting to go to, it's like, wow.
That's good.
Yeah. That's it.
Okay, RESP, we have any meetings? Okay. Next meeting date then, Wednesday, October 11th, and 7 PM is that one more meeting? Our last one at 7? Yep. Other than this one,
Second
but
financial conferences?
And then they moved to 6:30.
6 o'clock.
6 o'clock, okay.
6 o'clock, yeah. Okay, meeting adjourned.